How's it going, everybody? Welcome to Bid Nerd, your daily nerd out of the most interesting car of the day from all the automotive enthusiast auction sites. My name is John Polnick. I'm your host, coming to you from Las Vegas, Nevada, downtown Las Vegas, in the Container Park, along with my partner, Michael Deeb in San Francisco. How you doing, Michael Deeb?
What's up, nerds? I'm doing good, man, JP. It's freezing here in San Francisco. I know you don't like to talk about the weather, but it is ice cold, so I am bundled up again down in the basement. But I'm just glad we're doing the show.
Heck yeah. All right. Well, hey guys, if you are new to this channel and you've heard about the nerds, you're like, what is this whole nerd thing all about? What we do is we find the most interesting car from all these auction sites. We have a conversation about that car, what's going to happen with its auction. We make a prediction. Sometimes those predictions are right. Sometimes they're wrong. But you will find out at the end of this episode. So you don't have to wait and find out. We're going to just go to the future at the end of this episode and we will show you the results. You can play along with us. It's kind of like, what is it like? It's like the Price is Right.
Price is Right.
Yeah. So, all right. So, we also got to do a shout out to our good friends at Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. They're big supporters of this show. So we love those guys. Thank you guys. All right, let's go ahead and get to today's car. It's cold where you are. It's actually kind of cold here in Las Vegas. This car, we're going to go to Florida, where that's probably the only place that's not cold. What is the car that we're talking about today, Michael Deeb?
JP, this might be the perfect car for Sarasota because it's probably convertible weather year round. The ever popular, just incredible driving 1995 Porsche 911 Carrera Cabriolet. JP, it's interesting. When you picked this car, I started cracking up because there are details on this car that obviously remind me of your Cabriolet. You also had a 95 Cabriolet with an RS front splitter and some cool wheels. So this car is, even though it doesn't look like your car, it's evocative of your car. It reminded me of yours a lot. Our friends at Ferd's Garage in Sarasota brought to market this 32,000 mile true mileage unknown 6-speed manual midnight blue beige leather 17-inch multi-spoke wheels. I mentioned again RS front splitter. It also has a correct RS touring rear wing, not the RS Club Sport rear wing, but the standard RS rear wing. What else does it have? It's got like a aftermarket head unit in the dashboard. And JP, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that not a 996 steering wheel in place there?
It is, yeah, 3-spoke.
Yeah, so you're teaching your boy. I'm learning all the ins and outs. But, nice looking car. The big thing here, JP, the thing that kind of threw me off on this car when I looked at it is it says, okay, there's an odometer rollback. From the air-cooled era, a lot of the odometers that Porsche put out for decades had plastic gears, and over time, those gears can turn brittle. Occasionally, if you go to zero out the trip odometer, it will break one of those plastic gears, and your odometer will stop working for a while. So oftentimes when we see an odometer rollback on an air-cooled 911, an informed buyer won't be that turned off, especially if the mileage, if you follow the trace of the mileage over the course of the Carfax, you can sort of make sense if the odometer just sort of broke for a little while. But I opened this one up, John, and it was a little bit more disheartening. It was an inspection in 06 at 48,000 miles. And then when the car was looked at again in 2007, the car only had 2,600 miles. So initially I'm thinking, okay, they broke the odometer. Instead of fixing the existing one, they might have just replaced it. That you could make sense and just follow the mileage from there. Well, as we get ourselves up to, and this is where it gets really weird, in 2013, the mileage was 20,000 miles in August of 2013. But in July of 2014, the mileage jumped to 71,000 miles. That's not an odometer rollback, but I promise you this car did not cover 50,000 miles in 11 months. There's no way that makes any sense at all. So there are a couple of issues with regards to this car's history. If you were still interested in a car like this, I think anyone would implore you to have the car inspected and see what the wear looks like in the flesh rather than trusting the paper trail that doesn't make any sense on this car. 95 911 Cabriolet C2s are wonderful cars. My partner had one for I think 11 years, and never really had any problems with the car. Drove the snot out of it, and I mean, rain or shine. This guy was like the U.S. Post Office the way JP drove his 911. Um, just nothing held him back from driving that car. These are really good cars. But this paper trail JP, I have to call it out. This doesn't smell right. Like there's something really weird going on here. So other than that, nice car, fun equipment, not a collector condition car, but that paper trail leaves a stench. This is an interesting car. I'll be really curious to see what happens if there's true action on it. I can tell you right off the bat, there are not a lot of bids, and the car closes tomorrow.
Yeah, look, I'm looking at the pictures here and you come across, it looks like this, I assume that's the original odometer that's
Yep, that
probably
makes perfect
broken.
sense.
So 48,000.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's only like $300 to get these repaired. It's
Right?
not that much money. You send it out and there's a couple of companies that do it and they send it back to you. And the thing, the thing that bugs me almost more, Michael, did you notice this as I was clicking through the photos? The actual odometer in this car is out of a Tiptronic car. Can you
Oh,
guys see
jeez.
that?
Yeah, yeah. That's a I didn't catch that because I kind of whiz banged through it, but that's
Yeah.
really funny.
You've got the
That's bad.
Tiptronic, stuff over here. I don't know why. Kevin, what do our friends at Ford, they're good guys.
Yeah.
They know Porsches and everything like that. But I don't know why you wouldn't just like, I don't know why you would put this car out for sale like that. I mean, I know it's got the white gauges or
Gauge.
whatever,
Yeah.
and that's not for me. I definitely would not go that route. I think the black gauges would look way better. But if you still have that
That's
black
subjective though.
gauge, the
Yeah.
original black gauge, get it fixed and put it in.
Yeah.
And half the battle is over at that point. So you've got a Tiptronic odometer with lower miles. Now you got all these crazy questions. It seems like an unforced error to me. And what is otherwise what would be a pretty fun car. I mean, look, this thing's got PSS 9s or 10s. I couldn't tell
And
looking underneath, but it does
it,
have, Bilsteins.
if you go back to your white odometer, JP, it also
Hmm.
says 32,000 miles, which is
Yeah.
nowhere on the Carfax in the last year. It was at 81,000 miles last year. So clearly they changed the odometer again. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
this car has had an unfair and unusual history to it. And I do believe that is going to like seriously hold back the value on this car. I mean,
Yeah, and then you're talking about the trim and stuff like that. Just for the record, mine did not have RS splitters. Mine had Evo splitters. So I
oh,
had
right, right. Yeah,
this
yours was
one.
more squared off, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it's a
Yours
much.
was really aggressive.
Yeah, it was like the GT2 Evo front end.
Right.
And these aren't even RS splitters. This is kind of RS like splitters because if you look at this splitter, the RS splitters. They kind of bulge out. I'm trying to get to the front of the car here. So if you can see the front of that lip is even all the way across the bottom. On the
Yeah.
RS splitters, they're just on either side. They just kind of like dip out on either side and then it goes back
So
in the
these
middle.
aren't even real RS splitters. These are
Yeah, and
knockoff RS
then
splitters.
same thing. It's got that side, the rockers, which I think look terrible. Is that this stuff might be tech art? I'm not sure, or just some
Yeah.
other because the RS does have like these kind of like black rubber trim that goes on the side, but so that isn't right. And this wing, I'm not a fan of that wing, even though that's pretty close to what it's supposed to look like. I just don't think wings look good on cabs. And I'm not a
Yeah.
cabriophobe. I say that very often whenever we talk about cabs. I love cabs. But this car does have, some hot rod vibes to it. It does have the, coilover suspension transforms cabrios. If you've ever, a lot of people talk about cabrios. If you've ever driven a stock cabrio, I own a C4 cab and it's definitely, twisty and it's not as tight as a coupe for sure. But you can get rid of all those problems really easily with coilovers and a strut tower brace. That just is transformative, especially in a 993. I mean, the independent suspension on these are just fantastic driving cars, even with the top down. This one, I don't know what it's like to drive, but it's I would have for the photos have brought it down a little bit more since you have the option. Since I mean, heck, this is not a stock car, so you may as well look at, get it as outlawy as possible, I would think. I don't know. Maybe that's here or there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that this odometer situation is a problem, and I think it's made worse by having a Tiptronic one on there. I didn't notice that earlier when I was looking at this ad before. So that's really, really going to hurt this thing, and I think that's evidence in seeing how few bids there are right now. So, all right, Michael Deeb, what do you think? Let's go ahead and get to the prediction portion of the show. Now's
right.
your time, folks. If you're watching this now, play along with us. Put your bid. You can wait for Deeb and I to make our bids, and then put your bid in below. What do you think of this car? If you own this and you were selling it, would you have put a Tiptronic odometer in there? Would you? Oh, let me ask this question to the audience.
Nobody
Actually,
would've.
yeah, nobody
Yeah.
would have, right? Let me
Nobody.
ask this question to the audience. Would you rather have a completely different odometer, the wrong odometer for the car, one with a Tiptronic dial, or would you rather have a broken original, a working wrong one, or a broken original? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below.
100 out of 100 times a broken original.
I think that's the case. I think that's the case. All right. So, Deeb, what do you think this car is going to go for? What's going to happen with this auction? Is this a reserve? No reserve? I don't know.
Oh my God, yeah. I think it is a reserve auction. And I can't fathom what they think they're going to get for this car. To my surprise, John, our car basically closes tomorrow.
Mhm.
It's at $28,000 on 7 bids. I don't think it'll bring another 10 grand. I'm going to say $36,000, and I would think it would sell at that price, because what on earth kind of reserve would BAT have possibly given these guys that would be higher than $36,000? I don't see the value, just considering the odd history that this car has had, and the fact that you and I have seen this, JP. We were looking at a car, I can't remember, a while ago, where there was a there were 2 different plates on the car. On the front and the rear were 2 different states, and the stated title was in a third different state. This to me is one of those situations where you talk about an odometer rollback, and then you look at the Carfax, and the odometer that's in the photos still doesn't match the Carfax today. Like, it's all over the board. So this is one of those things where I just feel like the way the car was brought to market, it's going to turn off 85% of the potential buyers of your car. And it's weird that a place that really knows Porsches and is kind of doing this professionally, this isn't a guy selling his car. This is, some people that know their business. This is a weird one. It makes you, things that make you go.
This definitely seems like something you would see on P-Car Market. This is a surprise to see something like this on Bring a Trailer. I can't believe they let them do this. This is, I hate to say it, this is an unforced error.
Yeah.
You said what was the number you brought? 36?
36. I don't think it sees another 10,000 from the 28 it's sitting at, and it closes basically in a day.
I'm going to go under. I'm going to say 35. And here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like when I initially saw this car, I saw a TMU. I'm like, okay, great, TMU car, whatever. That's pretty common with 911s, especially the 993s and 964s, because of that plastic gear thing you talked about. If you've ever owned a 993, you know that if you ever let someone drive it or in the car at all, the first thing you say to them is, do not touch that button, because they break, right? When Rami got his 993 RS, I said, whatever the F you do, don't touch that. And he was like, oh, I was just about to. I'm like, oh. So,
exactly.
So anyways, look, all you had to do was fix the original, or get another one that's at least in reasonable, that discrepancy, and especially the Tiptronic thing. What the hell, man? If this had a broken but correct odometer, I think that the potential buyer pool would, this car would still be punished from a value point of view, but I think it would still, it would bring in the 40s. Probably, right? And I would think that this car, if it had a working odometer and it were correct, that it would be that this is probably high
Low
40s,
50s.
maybe low 50s, right?
Maybe,
maybe even better.
There's some neat things on this car, but the way it's presented, and it's like catastrophic, paper history.
Yeah.
I just don't see this car going anywhere. I'm assuming that at 36 or 35 that it's a fail to sell.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, what's up? It's just weird. So we'll
This
see what
is
happens. We'll see
yeah,
what
this is
happens
a
real soon.
car that
Yeah.
you clean up some of those issues, and you get better photos, and you bring it back to market in spring when people are looking for cabs, and you fix that freaking odometer issue. That's just crazy. All right, guys, what do you think? What's going to happen with this car's auction? Do you think people just aren't going to care because it's an air-cooled Porsche and people are buying all kinds of air-cooled Porsches? Or do you kind of think like maybe Deeb and I that maybe there's a bit of a softening going on?
I have I have a question for the audience. Would you
Mm.
buy a car, no matter what the price is, would you buy a car with as uncertain a mileage history as a car like this? I mean, like absolutely true mileage unknown. Most of the time when we see a TMU, you can sort of make sense of it, but this one, we really have no idea. Would you buy a car like that? I don't
Yeah.
know if I would.
Okay. And we'll throw out another one. We're quizzing. We want all kinds of feedback from our audience because
Yeah.
this is kind of a big thing. Here's another question: would
Yeah.
you rather have a discrepancy like this in the mileage, or would you rather have a salvage title?
Wow, that's a good question.
I mean, this is as
Oh,
big a deal because I don't
yeah.
think it would be, like I said,
Yeah.
but I don't know. We want you guys to let us know what you think. All right, we're going to go ahead and fire up the flux capacitor and go to the future, and we will tell you what happens with this car's auction right after this. Hey guys, I gotta tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you gotta call our friend Steve at Godden, this guy.
1989 linen gray metallic G50 cab.
Is that gonna be for sale?
It is going to be for sale. The car only has 65,000 miles on it.
Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. Hey guys and gals and nerds out there, welcome to the future. We are on the second half of Bid Nerds, your favorite show about all the automotive enthusiast auctions. Okay, Michael Deeb, we're in the future here. We're talking about this. Oh boy, 95 911. We have profiled some really nice cars this week. This
Mhm.
isn't one of them.
Yeah.
What are the results of this 95 cab? And I love
Well, John,
95 cabs. What the heck?
John, this is the first time all week your bid came in under mine. Our 1995 993 Cabriolet, I said $36,000. You came in under me at $35,000. Believe it or not, JP, this car sold for $45,500 on 33 bids on Bring a Trailer last week. And I'm telling you, JP, this result is almost as stunning as the $87,000 paid for that 1992 GTI 16 valve. My jaw hit the dining room table when I saw on my phone what this car sold for. That's really, I mean, 45,000 bucks, JP. You could buy just a couple of years ago. You could buy the nicest 964 cab out there. This 993 had so many question marks. The odometers that were changed out and all the modifications. Look, I'm all for modifying your car, but when you can't give a paper trail to the car's history, you wind up being in no man's land. And I'm really surprised at how much money this car brought. I'm just not seeing it. The navy blue with the tan interior and the carbon and the aftermarket wheels. Even if you thought that all the parts were worth money, it still doesn't make sense that somebody spent nearly 50 grand for this car. I would much rather have your 964 C4 Cabriolet than this thing here. I don't see how the guy who bought this car could ever turn around and get his money out of this thing. Stunning result. I feel sorry for the buyer, to be quite honest. If Ferd's Garage, candidly, JP, I bet they're laughing all the way to the bank on this one. Stunned by that result. What do you think?
Yeah, we've been talking about the value of Porsches, classic 911s, of course. We talk about them all the time. The values, or rather the prices, seem to still be climbing on the cars that are blue chip. We talk about this all the time, and this car isn't any of those things. There is zero right about this car. There's nothing redeemable. It is the wrong
Our friend,
color. And
our
I like the guy who's selling it, but this is a garbage 993. This is the worst 993 you could possibly buy, short of getting a Tiptronic version of it.
Yeah.
Just the worst.
Yeah. Our friend Buddha would say, JP, how much money do you think it would cost to unfuck this car?
Right. I mean, it's just
not worth the price of admission. That's
the
the
mods
problem.
are wrong. The miles, blah, 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 all these things. It makes, I mean, sure, makes me kind of want to sell the 964 because this thing brought 45 grand. I mean, granted, let's give this car something. It's not a piece of junk. I mean, it's still a 993. It's still a 911. There's still a lot of things to like about it, but
we have no idea how many miles are on this car. Like we couldn't even round to the nearest 50,000 miles. Like it's like there have been so many odometer changes, and then it's all showed up on the Carfax, and then all the mods, and then even what they claim, it's not what's in the photographs. I mean, I can't believe somebody bid $45,000 on this car. That's just crazy to me.
Congratulations to the seller, because like you said, they stole someone's money. I mean, they didn't look. I'm not saying that the person selling the car is dishonest in any way. I'm just
not at all. They just close everything. It just doesn't make sense.
Man, good job. I mean, to even and where the cars. I mean, it's in Florida. It's like the worst possible place to buy a car from. I don't get it. I don't get it. Congratulations to our friends over there.
At the beginning of every month, Bring a Trailer sends out an email, and it's a review of all the things that happened, the highlights from the month before. If the guys at Bring a Trailer and Hearst Media had a sense of humor, they would do an expose and do a Bring a Trailer success story on this and write an article about Ferd's Garage selling this car to somebody and making that much money, because that's what it is, a success story.
Well, you got to wonder, it's like, okay, all these unforced errors with this car, if it did have the right miles, if the odometer was correct, what's this car worth? I mean, if it was a 50,000 mile 993 that's all goofed up with these silly mods,
right? I mean, but let's presume for a minute. Like, again, we're guessing. Let's say it had 130,000 miles on it. 130,000 mile cab is barely a $45,000 car, and we have no idea if this is the miles that are on this car. And then the colors don't make any sense. It's got a black dash, but a beige steering wheel because they found carbon, and then they changed out the gauges.
So the white gauges,
remember, JP, this is the one that had automatic transmission markings on the odometer.
That's right. It has the Tiptronic gauge.
Tiptronic gauges. So, I mean, just get it, go away. This car angers me.
Yeah, it really is. It
offends my sensibilities, and I don't have that many. Come on, man.
All right, guys, what do you think of the results of this dog meat cab that just got butchered? Hey, should we send the guy who bought it a flower basket, like you would someone going to a funeral?
Fruitcake.
I mean,
we should have him invest in bid nerds and sell him like 100,000 shares.
All right. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Tell us what you think this car is worth. Are we wrong? Is this a great 993? Is this a car that should have brought more money?
Yeah. Did we miss something? Was this a good deal?
Was the frunk full of crack or something that we missed in one of the photos? Jeez. Yeah. I mean, it's a drug mule car that might have some gold bars in the front. I don't know.
It's in the right
Let us know in the comments below. Hit the subscribe, like, and notification button. It's definitely one of the most interesting cars of the day. Michael Deeb, you know how to pick them. We'll see you guys tomorrow with the most interesting car of the day on Bid Nerds. Hey, thanks again. Shout out to our friends over at God and Porsche too. So check them out. Thanks, guys. See you tomorrow.
Nerd! Get those nerds!